So Free Fire tells the story of a bunch of criminals trying to do an arms deal in a warehouse in the 70s. When things go wrong, they find themselves in free fire with each other, trying to survive with their money and with their guns. And that's about it. That is literally everything that happens in this movie, and it's quite entertaining for what it is. According to Rotten Tomatoes and Wikipedia, this is an action-adventure comedy, but it's not really like an action movie the way you might think it would be, and it's not a comedy in the sense that you're laughing out loud. This is most similar to kind of the early works of Quentin Tarantino. Very much Reservoir Dogs come to mind in that it's contained to a single location. It has these lively characters. It's not laugh out loud like a comedy, but it is amusing in its witty banter going back and forth. The characters are very enticing and interesting while being lowlifes that you don't like any of them at all. You don't care about any of them at all, but you enjoy all of them being on screen at the same time. Now, to state the obvious, this is a very basic film for a very specific type of person that enjoys a certain type of film. It's not trying to be any more than that. It's not any less than that. And it's very good at what it's trying to be. It's not great at what it's trying to be, but it's very good at it. So what is good about this? Well, first off, the atmosphere of the film, the 70s vibe, setting it in the 70s just gives it a cool tone to it. From the look of the characters to, Armie Hammer just looking ridiculous with this beard and haircut and this total vanity that to us in the 21st century, he looks ridiculous. But at the time, that was kind of the style. And so it just gives this little fine touch to it that's fun to be around. One of the characters in it has like this suit that he's wearing that he's obsessed with. It looks ridiculous, but it just fits perfectly into the atmosphere. And those little elements are kind of what makes the movie come together. Like I said, none of these characters are likable, but they're all played in a way that you like watching them. So Brie Larson plays a character that you're not quite sure where her allegiance lies, what her motivation is. That's kind of true of everybody in this, but you enjoy watching her on scene. She has kind of this back and forth with Cillian Murphy, and they have this rapport between them that's not really a romance at all, but it's kind of in that vein that it's just enjoyable to watch it. While, like I said, not a romance, not a love story at all, but just witty rapport between them. And that's where it's a little bit tricky to describe this if you haven't really familiar with that whole vein of movies that Quentin Tarantino started, those underground crime films where there's a lot of gunplay and violence, but it's not an action movie. There's a lot of witty comedic type lines, but it's not funny. And for me, like I know exactly what I'm describing, but if you haven't seen those types of films, if you weren't really into those 90s crime thriller movies, you might be confused as to what this movie is and go into it thinking a big action movie because there's just gunfire throughout the whole movie. It is certainly free fire throughout the whole movie, but it's not like this stylized action movie like you expect at all. And while there's certainly people being shot throughout the whole movie, it's not violent in the sense of you're off-putting by it. It's a very strange, perfect type of thing for a specific type of person. Now, as for the negatives for this movie, I don't really have any actual negatives to critique what they were trying to do, other than to say it could have been funnier. They could have found a few more elements to kind of hold my attention. It's very brisk film. It's under 90 minutes total runtime. Start your timer from the first frame to the end of the credits. It's under 90 minutes. But at the same time, it felt like maybe it could have been even shorter, which is to say that really it should have had a little bit something, give it broken up the monotony to parts of it. But it's very good at what it's trying to do. It's just not great. It's not like I left like, wow, my mind is blown. They pulled off this closed quarters crime thriller kind of comedy, but not really, kind of action, but not really film that was just amazing. It's not amazing, but it's very enjoyable if you liked those Quentin Tarantino type films. It's a nice throwback to them that I enjoyed a good bit. If you liked those Tarantino ones, I think that you'll enjoy this one a good bit. Not great, not top 10 of the year, but a nice change of pace from what we see more often, whether the big, MCU superhero movies that are PG-13 sanitized. This is very R, very much people are getting shot, bleeding out, brains, but not graphically violent at the same time. So difficult to describe the way that it so perfectly gets the tone it's going for. and to describe it because it's very unique in what it is and very much a throwback. If I were to rate this movie, I would give it a 7 I don't know if I said if. I am going to rate this movie. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's a good time. It's not trying to be the best of the year. It's not trying to be amazing at something. It's just trying to be what it is, and it is a good time for the right type of person. But if I'm being honest, if you don't like lots of F-bombs being dropped constantly, if you don't want to see a bunch of people, like every character getting shot up throughout the whole movie, you're not going to like this movie. It's for a very specific group of people. But if like Reservoir Dogs is a movie you enjoy a lot, I'd give this one a try. It's a nice little time at the movies and worth checking out in the theater to send a message to Hollywood. Make more movies like this. So please give it your support. But that's just my take on it. How about you? What did you think about Free Fire? Tell me in the comment section down below, because I don't want to just talk about Free Fire. I want to talk about Free Fire with you and how it kind of compares to Quentin Tarantino. Is that a fair comparison if you've seen it? Tell me your thoughts on that. If you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, ranking videos. I also got a movie trivia show where me and some other YouTubers compete to discover who is the master of movie trivia. So please consider subscribing if all that sounds interesting to you. And as always, thank you for watching.